Welcome to the Complete Fitness Podcast with Core 4 Complete Fitness. Your episode is starting in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Complete Fitness Podcast. Hopefully you guys are having a fantastic day. There's those balloons again.
There they are.
Don't know why they appeared, but hopefully if you can see them, that's not our doing. It's our, maybe it's AI that's filtering itself in, but occasionally we'll get some balloons spread out here for you guys. So if you're watching on YouTube, lucky you. Now, before we get going, guys, like always, if you could subscribe to this podcast, if you're listening, if you're watching, whatever your platform of choice is, there's a little subscribe button. And if you could click that, every time we drop a new episode, you'll be the first to be notified. That way you don't have to backtrack months and months or weeks and weeks if you miss a couple weeks. And it'll let you know when a new episode drops. And all you have to do is tune in on the drive to work, the drive home from work. We try to keep them semi-short and sweet with you, so that way you can bang them out wherever you are. And that is all. And share it with people, guys. We grow this thing through you. So if you know any friends or family that have wanted to get in shape, that have tried to get in shape, that just need a little bit of help or could help, whatever message we spit out today, it could benefit them, feel free to share it with them as well. And we can keep growing this thing through you guys. Boom.
Yeah, buddy.
Now today, guys, we're going to talk a little bit about chaos that happens in life, and most importantly, thriving through chaos and not letting it deter you. The past 5 days have been insane. Yesterday in particular, I haven't told you this, Ev, but one of our coaches is sick, which is like, whatever, that's going to happen. One of our kids is sick. That's going to happen, whatever. Yesterday, my wife's car that she's had for less than 2 months completely died in the driveway.
No.
So, yeah, the Explorer. So she's getting ready to leave. It won't turn over. So I'm like, okay, I'll just grab a pair of jumper cables for $20, come home, jump it, and then you should be off to the races. This thing is brand new. So get home, hook it all up. It's doing the ring, 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 and it won't turn the engine over. So left it hooked up for 45 minutes, laid on the gas, tried every trick in the book. And I'm like, this thing is just either the battery is completely freaking dead, which I don't know how it would be if it's brand new. And it just won't. Yeah, you're the same thing. Just won't start for any apparent reason. So, we sat there all day, had to drive her to the Ford dealership, gave us a loaner vehicle, got the loaner vehicle, took the kids back to work with me. Hallie had to show a house, so she had to run, take my car, right when I got out of work, dropped off the kids, took her car to show a house, drop it off back, take her back to the dealership, come back home, tow truck comes up on the flatbed, takes the car to the dealership. Luckily, we have a loaner car that will be able just to get by in. And then today they call and they're like, yeah, we took it to the dealership and it turned over on the very first try. And I'm like,
Come on.
You have to be absolutely shitting me. So now I'm like, we've had this car that obviously didn't work. So we told him, can you do a diagnostic test or something and just see what this is? Because I'm like, I just don't want you to take it on the flatbed, get it there, start it up, and then drop it back off home and it doesn't work again. But crazy freaking day. And when you have those days, guys, it's very, very easy to go, everything is going against the grain. I'm going to throw in the towel on myself too. And what happens is you do that one time, and then you want to do it again the next difficult thing that happens or comes up, or the next time you have a bad day, or where things are chaotic, or you go, oh my God, this day was stressful, I'm going to have some drinks, or I'm going to eat my feelings, or I'm going to skip that workout. And these days or these storms are always going to come in succession. You're going to get through one, and then another one comes, then another one comes. It might be the next day, it could be 2 or 3 days after. But if every single time something bad arises, it's going to be very difficult to progress anywhere. So you have to have this mentality that things are going to come up, things are going to be difficult, things are going to be hard. But if every time that happens, the first one that you quit on is yourself, you almost are never going to take 3 steps forward, 3 steps back, 3 steps forward, 3 steps back. And it's going to be just this endless cycle and this snowball effect that the minute things get challenging, you end up kind of throwing the towel in on yourself. And you had it Sunday too. Same thing with the funeral and then getting to hockey, trying to find a ride home from hockey. It's endless.
Yeah, I've definitely had, probably the last 2 weeks for me have been that. But I don't know if it's just because it's kind of been routine for me for, I don't know, 10 years as far as fitness and working out, or if it's just the way I just enjoy working. I don't know what it is, but this is where I find the most peace in working out. Like, I was just late to this podcast. I'm all sweaty because it's one of the first time in 2 weeks I could just be fully alone and just throw down in the gym. So I did the 9:30 workout at the gym, and I was like, I just got to stay here and just keep sweating and working. And most times when things, are going smooth in life and kind of routine, if you want to call it, as routine as any life can be, that's my time. I am at work all the time. I'm not going to stay at work longer just to work out. And that's kind of the double-edged sword about, I think, being a trainer
Yeah.
or a coach. If you work all day at the gym, then you have to work out at the gym. You're staying at work an extra hour. Like, that kind of plays a mind game on you. But anyway, today I could not wait. And I'm like halfway through the 9:30 workout. It's a great workout. It's hard workout, cardio, thumbs down. And I'm still like, you know what? I got to just stay after and just turn up music loud. I mean, it's 2 weeks ago, my father-in-law goes into the hospital, which was scary. And then it became pretty routine and not scary, but just a big waiting game.
It's
But
still stressful.
yeah, definitely stressful, but we're juggling life. We're going to go see him in the hospital, around work, and then you're also bringing a baby to do all of those stuff around his naps, around his meals. Then he comes home, and when he came home, he had been in a bed for 4 or 5 days, 5 days, Friday to Tuesday. So he had like some physical therapy scheduled, and it was going to take him a while to kind of get around. Now, hindsight, he more or less was totally fine when he got home, which was awesome. He was just like, he was like messing around, standing on one foot, like pissing off Chandis, and everyone's always all worried about him.
Whoa, I'm going to go back to the hospital.
Yeah, yeah, kinda, more or less. Taking the piss, as the Europeans say. Taking the
Yeah.
piss out of everybody. But then there's a Thursday, right after, where I go and stay with him all day because my mother-in-law's at work, so I'm working with Rowan from there, and then that turns into my family comes in town because of Nana's funeral, and then I got to schedule. Point is, I found a lot of peace and solace in my workouts. Those, out of the course of the last 2 weeks, we're starting to get our house ready because we want to move. We're looking at houses. There's a bunch of shit we have to do at our house, so my basement's disgusting. I'm ripping down drywall, vacuuming, shop vacuuming, fighting against spiders bigger than my head, which is my biggest fear. Then, on a more personal note, I'm starting to have these creepy night terrors that just started happening. The last 2 nights. Two of my biggest fears, I'll be very honest, two of my biggest fears, car accidents freak me out, as anybody does, and my house catching on fire in the middle of the night and not being able to get to my son's room. I think it's anyone's fear. Back-to-back nights, I had a fire dream, and then last night I had a dream that I got in this horrible car accident with my dad. Super real. And so now I'm not sleeping. Anyway, point is that I don't have to get on this tangent about me. The last 2 or 3 weeks have been an emotional nightmare for me. I've just been
You can't
existing.
sleep. You can't be awake.
Yeah, exactly. So I've just been getting by. I wake up every single day and I turn the Evan thoughts off and I turn what do I need to be for everybody today to just survive and work and the gym. And when I do get a chance to work out, it's been the best part. And sometimes you pick to nap. Sometimes you pick to work out. Sometimes you pick to, be productive, work on the basement. I've been choosing working out over, even when I'm tired because I'm not sleeping. And it's the only little wiggle room I get in my day. So the point is, to your point, which is not just me talking about myself, to your point of me bringing this up is, if we can start to shift the mindset to not let fitness be the first thing to go when life gets chaotic, it would have been very easy for me 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, when all of the shit hit the fan to go, well, workouts aren't happening because all of my free time is going to be spent napping because I'm tired, or just spending time with my wife because she's, very upset about her father, spending time on me because I'm upset about my father-in-law, and then Nana's funeral, and then my family coming in town, and the excitement of meeting my niece for the second time, but also traveling an hour and a half every time I want to see them still and fitting that into my routine. It would have been very easy for gym time and fitness time to be the first thing off the list, to be like, well, I don't have time for that. When in reality, it's when I needed it the absolute most, without question. And it has been, including today, an absolute saving grace for just my mentality, my emotional mindset, to just be able to decompress. It's so good for your self-esteem and bring it up. And I think self-esteem is something that gets hindered with people don't even realize. You think of the obvious stuff. If someone bullies you, like as a kid, that's going to hurt your self-esteem. But I think when we go through emotional stretches, our self-esteem lowers because we don't feel like ourselves. We feel down, right? We're just
And it's very easy to like beat yourself up, like go, I'm under all this chaos right now, and I missed a workout. I'm a piece of crap. How am I gonna like? It starts to weigh on you.
And then all the chatter of the woe is me, life sucks, life is hard. Anytime you hit that workout and you push that challenge and you kind of remind yourself, oh, I'm still that dog, baby. So no matter what they're throwing at me today, I still got it. Or, yeah, this has been hard. This has been emotional. I'm traveling all over the time. I'm not sleeping. I'm battling with this stuff. I'm trying to be support system here, trying to be support system there, still be a dad, blah, 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 blah. It's okay. I got it. I'm built for this. And it kind of just is able to keep you afloat rather than just folding it in. And I think graduating to that mindset with fitness, it's putting it as a priority, to not miss a workout, but it's also puts it in perspective of, maybe it's not just about having the abs, or maybe it's not just about making sure summer's coming up, so I got to look good in my tank tops. Maybe it's so much more than that. Maybe it's literally just a way to be happy, like to survive each day in a way.
There was do you know who Jason Redman is?
I think I've heard his name. Is he like a Facebook?
He's like yeah, kinda. He's like he travels, like does all these speaking events now, and he long story short, I'm probably gonna butcher the story, but he was a Marine overseas and was like caught in this ambush. And long story short, there's like gunfire, there's explosions, like he got like all screwed up all over his body. And so he goes, the one thing they teach you in the Marines, like when you have this ambush situation or a chaos situation, he goes, he's like, they tell you to get off the X, like it's like crosshairs and like a gun,
Sure.
And he goes, when you're like in the line of fire with people or your world or your stress, he's like, do the one thing that's going to get you off the X. Otherwise, you're just going to stay and the ambush is just going to keep coming. And you're going to wait it out. And he goes, when you wait it out and you don't move and you're not proactive, he's like, it's unrelenting sometimes. So he goes, his whole like thing is just about getting off the X in life. And he's like, whatever it is, he's like, people will kick the can down the road, or they'll procrastinate, or they'll go, tomorrow I'll do this, or tomorrow I'll do that. He's like, if you have the mindset of I'm in the crosshairs, I have to get off the X as quick as I can, whether it means like making a tough day even tougher because it gets you out of there really, really quick. Or things like, getting in a workout, or I'm not going to drink, or I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to eat myself, into oblivion because I'm stressed out today. But, it does help. And it's like one of the things that I use, like no matter what the day is, and I'm sure it stresses out Hallie like crazy, but like if I have like a bunch of shit to do, I will just go into like maniac mode for like 4 hours and just be like, I just got to get this shit off my plate as quickly as I fucking can. And then that way, to when tomorrow comes, like I'm off the X. I'm cool.
Yeah.
It sucked. I got it behind me. If there's another ambush that comes, I'm ready for it. But at least now I'm like out of the crosshairs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great way to to look at. I think when we see and view things as hard, we avoid it very naturally, and it's detrimental to us. And this is a big thing. I'm a huge advocate of this at the Wixom gym, where I mean it's almost become like the mantra of the gym. And it's like my own personal mantra I've adopted over the last whatever couple months. But like hard is something we can do. It's just hard, right? It's
Yeah,
not
it's not
impossible.
impossible.
No, hard is not impossible. So that's what we say all the time. Hard is not impossible. It's hard. Do hard shit. It's not just good for you, it's mandatory for you. And it makes things like, for my example, the last 2 weeks have been brutal, doable, right? And look at, once again, I'm still here. And every
And
single thing, anyone listening to this podcast, you think of your life, you think of all of the shit you've gone through, every little episode, whether it was a hard day, a hard weekend, a hard month, a hard year, you're still here. And it's hard to realize that in the moment, but if we can change our relationship with just doing hard things, doing hard shit, and that can apply to whatever you want. Physically hard, absolutely, but mentally, emotionally, anything that's uncomfortable, and us just getting comfortable doing it, making it comfortable, it's just us growing. If you think
I
about
always
growth.
think back, like what you said there, with the growth factor, where like if you think of where you were when you were 16 or 20 or whatever it was,
Sure.
imagine if you never grew out of that. Like if you never challenged yourself, if you never like, I'm taking the leap, I'm doing this, I'm going to the gym, I'm eating healthy, or this is hard, or I got to find a way, like you were saying, to how do I drywall or fix drywall? Imagine if you just never, you were like, that's hard, I'm not going to do it. They go, you would never have this evolution of a human that like takes place as you grow your life. But what happens is people get complacent, they get stuck, and they're like, okay, I'm here, I'm cozy, I'm comfy, I don't have to go any farther. This is difficult. But then you see people that stay stuck forever.
Right.
They're like, oh, I can go to the gym, I can only use the 5 pound weights, or I can do X, Y, and Z. So it's until you kind of like almost embrace the difficulty and you're like, I'm doing this so that on the other side, there's a kind of a light at the end of the tunnel. You
Right.
just kind of stay stuck in the status quo forever.
Yeah, like something as just obvious and objective as like bench pressing. For me personally, to bench press 250 pounds is very hard. I can't do it. For a bodybuilder, it's nothing. That's warm up. They throw it around.
Yeah.
But it wasn't always nothing to him or her. This bodybuilder has been doing that. And so their hard is different from my hard. And if we apply this to every aspect of our life in the less of the objective, more subjective things, I always think public speaking is an awesome example of it. If public speaking is something that's hard for you to do, you know, eventually it won't be. Think of anybody who's in the public space who's a public speaker. At first, I'm sure it was very hard and difficult, and now they're 20 years, 30 years into their career, it's not as hard. Or stand up comedians, I mention them a lot. I love stand up. It's super uncomfortable to get up on a stage and tell your jokes, but now they walk into a stadium and everyone knows who they are, they have credibility. It's not hard anymore. They might still get nervous, but it's not hard. Where for me, it would be, because I haven't dedicated the last 20 years of my life to doing that. So
Yeah.
it is that simple to think of everything we do in life with those goggles, to be like, if it's something that's hard and I care about it, the only way to make it something part of my life that is not hard is to do it, and do it while it's hard. You got to buy in, you know? You got to do it at the shitty times. You got to do it when you're a beginner, when you suck at it, when it's hard, when it's challenging, and eventually it's not. Think about just coaching a class, right? We've been doing it now for however long. It's muscle memory. I can do it with my eyes closed. I could do it one hand tied behind my back on one foot in a wheelchair. I could just coach a class. It would be mindless almost, and I think I'm confident enough to say it would be motivating, it would be fun, it would be inspiring, and it would be challenging. But it's only because I've done it forever. When I started
Yeah.
Milford, I was so nervous, and it was hard.
And the
I
speed of it, where you're like, talk, time,
start the
form,
clock.
this,
Yeah,
3, 2, 1, music's going, shit. I got to be over. Then it just kind of like everything just slows, and you're
yeah,
like, okay, I'm in my groove. I'm in my sweet spot.
yeah. And it's easy to get comfortable and routine, but then we get bored, which is a whole nother theory thing I have is like we need to avoid boredom. Boredom is not good. It's not a good thing to be bored. It's not natural, and that's when all of the negative stuff starts, and all it is back to that self-esteem just getting hit and hit and hit and hit, and we can dwell on past, we can think about all the stuff that is hard for us, and it's like, why am I such a failure? This is so hard. So and so can do it. It's kind of like this weird trick we all play on ourselves, and it's no one's fault. It's just kind of naturally, I think, what people do with boredom. So if we can avoid boredom, we naturally will do this less and be more content and happy and confident and not be afraid of hard things, you know? Fixing that relationship with hard is everything. You know, you can
They
do hard
said
shit.
they said something about that. I forgot the statistic like exactly, but they said those thoughts and the stress and anxiety and like the what if situations we build up in our head. They said, I forgot what it was. Like in the high 80s or 90s, they were like 92% of them never happen. It's just shit that you put in your brain
For
that
sure.
you're like, oh my God, what if, I was going to say, what if a tree falls on my house, but you actually had it happen.
That did happen to me.
Um,
Ended up being a
but
great thing.
yeah, I mean, it worked out, but shit like that you're like, oh my God, what if this happens? And it's like you drum up all this crazy shit in your head and these thoughts and ideas
Yep.
only because you're just sitting in your own thoughts and you got
Because you got
nothing to
time.
do. Yeah.
Because you have
Whereas if
time
you
to
go
do it.
for a run, get a workout in, those thoughts go away, they dissipate. You get the big endorphin and dopamine rush, and you're like, okay, I'm good again. Everything's fine.
Yep.
And it
It's
kind of just lessens the noise.
it's because you're in your job that you've been doing for 20 years. And so you go, like, for me, balancing a spreadsheet or whatever, some computer job, I've never really done it. And so it would be very hard to me. A lot
Yeah.
of people, they do this every single day. Just like someone coaching a class would be very hard to somebody else. And it's just nothing to me, right? Um, but it's like, I'm trying to explain. The comfort of it is what's allowing you to take time to think of imaginary what if situations.
Yeah.
Imagine you were at a first day of a new job, or you just got promoted and you got transferred to a different branch, or you were doing something growing. That's just in the professional world. Let's say you were at a gym, you were going for a run, you were doing something out of routine. You were going to meet people, you were going to start at a bowling league, and you're doing something, you know, you're not going to have time to think about this detriment in your mind, all of this what if stuff. And so if you have time to say what if, you're too bored. Something's going on. You're a little too complacent, and your comfort zone is holding you hostage in a way. And two, exactly what you said the first point, if you say what if, it literally means it's not real because it's if.
Yeah.
What if I won $1 million today? Same odds of whatever bad thing I'm thinking, right? What if a tree falls
Yeah.
on? It's just kind of like if the second you say what if, it is make believe. And I've said this 1,000 times on this podcast, so I know some people are going, yeah, we get it, I know. But if you're new to the podcast, that's a huge mindset hack for me that I learned years ago. That is just the second you say what if, it's not real.
Well,
Um,
you'll see people too that like, not to paint everything with a broad brush, but like, you guys will know who I'm talking about when I say this, but the people who, let me preface this by saying it's some, not all, but the people that just, and you might know some that are on your street or something, but the people that just have nothing but time that just everything is a 4-alarm fire. Where like if you park your car too far in the driveway, oh, so and so, like you're just stirring up shit because you got nothing else to do, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, here's something that I can do that kind of makes me feel like I'm back in control again because I'm just looking out my window at shit that's going wrong.
Yes.
Where it's that type of thing. Where if that person's busy and they're productive and they're doing shit, odds are they don't even look twice at the car that's sticking out of the driveway. They're just like,
Right.
whatever. That guy's about moving shit. Not a big
Right.
deal.
You don't even let it occupy your time because it's
Yeah.
pointless anyway. Right. Right. Yeah, that's a very interesting way to look at it. The more hung up on those little and stuff that doesn't involve you, which I think is the best part of that example you just gave. It's yeah. If you're looking in your neighbor's yard and like, oh, they haven't mowed the lawn lately. It's like,
Yeah.
dude, you
Call
got
the HOA. You're like,
Yeah.
what do you got nothing else to do?
exactly. You're a little too comfortable. You gotta get out there. Go do something hard. Grow a
Yeah.
little bit. I don't know.
We're going to lose all of our subscribers now.
Yeah, everyone feels judged.
And goodbye.
I don't
We
think
all
people,
take care of our yards.
I don't think people seeking out a fitness and mindset growth podcasts are the ones that are sitting there just judging. And if they are, maybe it's an alarm that went off for them, and they're gonna
Maybe you'll change your ways.
start doing some hard shit more often.
What else you got, buddy boy?
It's kind of got. I had one question for you, like we ended last podcast, but it kind of got answered throughout all of this naturally, and it was just I wanted to know what you do to find contentness, in those bored moments or in the, like for me, when I'm bored, if I'm not like if I have nothing going on, I don't get me wrong, when I say bored, it's not like you
It's
get
a Sunday and we're chilling.
Yes, that is beautiful. That's what you live for in a way. That's life, right? And that's great. And that's a great thing to have. But when that is 3 days in a row, by day 2 and by 3, you don't feel good anymore. That is what I'm talking about. Because then that's boredom setting in. Sometimes just laying there playing around on your phone is perfection. That's all you want to be doing. It's just
Yeah.
for yourself.
Turn my brain off and just
Beautiful. Right.
stare
It's
at a drywall.
Yeah, that's fine. It's when you're doing that for too long and then you start damaging yourself. You start getting agitated, you start thinking, you start looking at the neighbor's yard, you start doing these weird behaviors that we look through that we don't think are bad, and we're not actually whatever. So my question for you was, how do you find contentness when everything was going haywire, which I think you answered, and just kind of getting whatever done and yada yada. But then also, if you find yourself getting too content or whatever, what's your number one, like what's the red flag? What tells you, I got to go do something?
I just kind of like how you said, like when things are going smooth, I'm in like heightened anxiety mode, which you think would be the polar opposite, where like I'm looking and I'm like, what, like, which is how you want your life to run, right? Nice and smooth. But when you're like, okay, like what the fuck am I gonna do? Like this is good. Sessions are great. We got people signing up. Everything's good. No one's canceling. We're smooth to the races. Everything's hunky dory. Sunshine and birds chirping. But then like you're just like waiting almost on pins and needles. So I'll try to just cleaning the gym helps a lot. I'll watch like YouTube videos. Like I'll help kind of hunt down like other gyms or on social media that kind of do what we do. Not that I'm stealing their shit, but I'll just kind of see like, oh, here's something here's a move that we haven't tried yet on whatever, the Anchors, or here's this, just something to kind of keep my mind like spinning in that direction still.
Okay.
Because it is, when everything's hunky dory and everything's good, the first person that kind of checks out is you sometimes, which is fine for a day or something like that. But when it's multiple days,
Right.
And you're just like, the Facebook ads are going great. This is going good. This is going good. You're kind of just like, I feel like I should be doing more. Like everything's clicking. What else? What can I do to help? And then you kind of beat yourself up Like shit, there's got to be something that I can do. How can I kind of catapult this? But that's kind of my thing is I'll kind of think of new workout formats, clean everything. We've kind of been screwed just because it's where we are. It's the Midwest and we have to wait till everything thaws before we can do like a really, really good spring cleaning and get like all the, salt that's in the corners out and stuff like that.
Right.
But that's kind of my thing. Think about house projects. Like yesterday when Hallie's car died, I was like, oh, it's a good thing we have the golf cart. And they tell you when you have a golf cart to take it off of the charger in the winter because you don't want to suck all the life out of the batteries. But then if you leave it off the charger for like 3, 4, 5, 6 months, the batteries drain so low that when you go to charge it, there's like it has to have like a certain voltage even just for the battery to tap in. And if it gets too low, the charger won't recognize the battery is there. And then long story short, it won't charge.
Everything's
So I know. So yesterday, like was just chaotic and I'm like, oh, I'll take the golf cart to work. And then I ended up watching 65 YouTube videos over the course of the day on here is how you test a battery. So I learned that. I got a multimeter thing. So I learned how to do that. I got like a 12-volt battery charger just to give them some life, but just shit like that to keep like your brain occupied, even if it necessarily isn't like work related. You just kind of feel like productive.
Do you have a specific tell where you know? Because my problem is I wouldn't necessarily notice that I was getting in one of these ruts, these unproductive, kind of lazy, bored ruts. I wouldn't even notice I was in them until it was too late. And all of a sudden, everything's hard to do, right? It's hard to go work out again. It's hard to go to work again. It's hard to go be productive because you've been stuck in this bored little comfort bubble. But lately I've been more attentive to it. But do you have like a specific thing that you do and you go, all right, I'm not doing anything anymore. I'm just sitting here bored. And this is going to be bad in an hour, in a day, whatever.
I'll usually, so like, we'll go home in the afternoon when the gym is kind of closed, pick up the kids if they got to be picked up, do all that stuff. And then Ella goes down for a nap anyways. So usually I'll go home, I'll eat some food, kind of just take a chill pill, turn my brain off for a little bit. And then I'll usually like make myself go back to the gym at like 2:30 or 3 just to like get like the gears turning again.
It's weird how much it works.
I know. Sometimes I'll just sit there, I'll clean up, I might even just go for a walk outside, but at least I'm not just in the house, just like I've been sitting here forever. I got to go do something. There's got to be something I can do. But I'll go back, check emails, all that stuff, like clean up the gym. If I have like another hour, hour and a half to kill, I'll just go for a walk like around Milford with headphones on, but just stuff to like keep you occupied. Because it is, if I just sit, I'm like, you get down on yourself. There's something I got to be doing.
It also ruins like the nighttime hang. Like for me, that's when me and Chan hang. We put Rowan down. I get home around 7:30, and if I already did that day, it's not enjoyable, or as enjoyable.
Yeah, you're like, oh, I just did this a little while ago. This is like the second time.
Sit and watch TV again. Where if it's at the end of a day of doing crap, man, it's nice.
You feel like you earned it.
Yeah. Mine's always the second I start looking at my phone while the TV's also on, I know something's wrong. I go, oh, okay.
2 screens, huh?
I'm bored. I'm officially bored. I gotta go be a little more productive. Don't have to reinvent the wheel, but I gotta go load the dishwasher, go outside, go whatever. Yeah.
Isn't that insane though? I think about that sometimes. Like if you would have told people, I mean, shit, even 8 years ago, that, like, remember the old TVs where either you had to have a clicker or like the dial to change it?
Right.
And like you'd have to even get up every time to change the channel.
Yeah.
And then we went to the remote and then it was cable so you could watch whatever station. And now it's gotten to the point that like you put the TV on in the background because watching it is going to be boring for 5 seconds. So you
I-
have to have something in front of it
I
to
know.
fill that 5 to 10. Like, it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah, we are fully controlled by it. Fully.
I know. Right before we started the podcast, I worked out at 9:30, and then I got my phone to set everything up, and there's like an invite link that we send each other to get the podcast going. So it's usually like 5 minutes before both of us can sign on. So I was like, oh, I'm bored. I'll just pop it on Facebook, see how things are going. And password wouldn't work. It looked like I got like locked out, and then I'm like, holy shit, what if somebody hacked my Facebook? And then I just went online, and there's like a massive like Facebook, Instagram, either outage or nobody can log in or whatever. But it feels like you're naked, like you're vulnerable. You're like, oh my God, I can't know what's going on at all times right now. Like, it's just,
so bad.
it's
so
crazy.
bad. It's so bad. It's so bad. I know. It's
This has been what, 30 minutes?
yeah.
In the back of you're like, oh God, I hope it all gets remedied. Everybody's freaking out. We'll keep you posted in real time, people.
Yeah, right. And if this podcast doesn't get uploaded tomorrow, you know why.
You know why.
On Facebook.
Right now it says Instagram and Facebook are both offline. Users are unable to access either platform or refresh their activity feeds in any fashion.
Wow.
What is this?
I hope people go outside. Go take
You
the
got
dog for
TikTok
a
and
walk.
Twitter, though.
I don't have either of those.
I have Twitter just because I have both. I'm lying to you. I just upload the videos on. I just upload my videos on TikTok, but I make it a point to never look. Like, I go in, post, and then get the hell out of there.
Yeah, I think TikTok.
Because I've heard
a big one, right?
It's a rabbit hole of just content. But the thing that sucks is, like, right when you open the app, it's not like on Instagram or Facebook where it's like scrolling. The second you open it, it's, hi, I'm on it. Like, it's a video right there. So you get sucked in immediately.
Ugh. God, it's so
Scary.
I hate thinking about that.
I know. And then you're like, oh, these are short. They're only a couple seconds long.
And it's
But
all on purpose, man.
I know. Attention. It's the new drug.
It's all well. That's exactly to get back to the point about the TV. TV shows are too long. Like, I'm not gonna watch 20 minutes and see a plot develop and see what's going on around all of the stupid Hulu ads or whatever.
I know.
And then see the conflict and then see if they resolve it, which you know they do, because otherwise it wouldn't have made it to Hulu or Netflix, because it needed to be painted with some brush that everyone is okay with. And then it's like, just look at my phone and see 10 7-second videos instead.
Yeah.
Some I don't like. Some I laugh at. Some I don't care about. Some I get angry at. Some I judge. I don't know. That's better for some reason. I don't know. It's bad. It's bad news. I hate it.
Viv, even a couple months ago, we were watching, like, I was flicking between like a Wings game and there was like some show on Disney. So eventually I gave Viv the remote and I'm like, here, watch your Disney show. I'll go watch the game, downstairs. So she like comes and gets me after like 5 minutes. And she's like, the button isn't working on the TV. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Thinking it's like the volume button. But it was just a normal commercial. But she's so used to like Hulu, YouTube, Disney, where you can just, it's an ad and you can just press the skip button. And I'm like, no, you have to sit through this, kid. Can you fast forward? Can you skip? And I'm like, God, that's terrible that you don't even know what a legit 2-minute commercial break is.
Wow, that's so funny.
Sad to say.
Yeah,
that's the way of life.
Used to be run to the bathroom. My sister Jody would yell, "It's back on!" And I would just start running through the house to get back to
Or like, remember when like there was a movie that was playing at 8?
Yep.
And like, if you weren't there, like your family, I remember they would like rush. Remember when like Sopranos was on? That was like the thing. Like, everybody had to be home at 8 o'clock to watch The Sopranos on Sunday night. And if you missed it, you were SOL.
There's nothing you can do.
Yep. The whole series wouldn't make sense because then you were backtracking to the week after.
Yep. Then you have TiVo, and you could record it. But then if you didn't record it or you couldn't have TiVo or whatever, was TiVo expensive? We never had it. Was it like
We
a
never had it. We got the Comcast, like the DVR thing came out,
okay?
where then you
Yeah,
could like
that-
record if you weren't home and then just like watch it on TV again. We never had TiVo though, but we still called it TiVo.
Oh, really?
TiVo, the thing, even though
It
we
was
don't have it.
God,
That was the move.
TiVo just made a bunch of money and then got out.
Peace.
Good for them.
Peace.
Good for Mr.
Well, that's all, peeps. You got anything else, Evie boy?
No, that's all. I think this was a great podcast.
Good one.
I enjoyed it.
What else? Supplement wise, guys, you know the drill. Should you need anything, protein wise, workout wise, pre-workout wise, you need some more juice to get through your day. We have energy gummies. We have pre-workout. We have fat burners. We have BCAAs. We have whey protein. We have vegan protein. Pretty much anything you can think of that's inside of a supplement store, we have at core4supplements.com. So shop away. Best part is, guys, if you are a podcast listener, when you check out, if you type in the word podcast, when it's time to pay at the checkout, you'll save 10% off of everything that you buy. And if you spend over $100, you get free shipping on all of it. So if you want to buy a couple things or a month's worth and get the shipping for free, it'll save you a trip to the grocery store and you can save 10% off of all of it. And again, core4supplements.com.
Hell yeah.
But that's all, peoples. Fingers crossed. The interwebs are back. How did it know?
I don't know.
How did the balloons came back up right as we're ending?
I don't know.
But that knew when we started, knew when we ended.
Yep.
But that's all, peoples. Hopefully we can upload this on social media tomorrow. And if not, that's all she wrote.
That's it.
The balloons tell all.
Bye, everybody.
All right, bye.